I'm having a really crappy morning. If you're wondering if my tire is supposed to look like this, it's not. It's falling off. Let's go over what happened, what my plan is to fix it, and then I'll release videos as this process unfolds with what the heck's going on here. So I'm about to take a couple days off farm. I wanted to trim the grass in front of the broilers. I have chickens just in that direction. And I'm mowing along the way I always do. Everything is the same, and all of a sudden the machine bogs down and lists to one side. So I shut it down. Whenever anything out of the ordinary happens on a machine, shut it down right away. So I shut it down as soon as I noticed something, which was after a couple feet, so the damage was already done by the time it registered. And I get off the tractor to find this. So what happened, as I was bush hogging, the grass built up behind the bush hog like it does from time to time. You know, I've had this happen to me dozens of times before, but this time it got stuck in the wheel well. And you see it all built up in there? That buildup of grass and the power of the machine, I didn't realize it at first because the machine didn't really bog down, but it just got to the point where it must have hit a clump of grass or something, and it all went in there and unseated the tire from the rim. And with doing that, now the machine is incapacitated in the middle of a field. All the ballast that I had in it, these tires are filled with organic beet juice for ballast, like 80 gallons, I think, per wheel. All that ballast, the liquid in there, spilled out. It's all right because it's non-toxic, although it's not what I would ideally have happen. So I lost my ballast, lost the rim. So now I'm going to go through stage one and get rid of all the grass in the area, assess where the tire's at, be very careful that I don't unplug some grass and have the machine shift on me, although it should be pretty settled at this point. I'm going to get all the grass out. I'm going to bring my excavator over, see if I can lift the machine up and get the weight off of this tire before I cause any damage to the tire. With this machine then in the air, I can see if I've caused any damage to the tire itself, or if it can just be reseated and refilled, and then I can be on my merry way. If this tire is damaged, brand new, I have 200 hours on this machine. If this tire is damaged, I'm looking at, you know, $600 to $1,000 for the new tire. I'm looking at a ton of money for refilling with the ballast because it's not cheap. And then if I can't get it out of the field myself, I have to pay somebody with a truck to come out here, lift the machine up and do all the repairs. We're looking at easily $1,000. Even if I don't have to buy a new tire, I'm easily $1,000 out just by some grass building up behind the wheel. I got it all cleaned out, all the grass around it. The tire looks like it's all right. They're like super new tires, so I'm not overly concerned because I caught it kind of quick because I couldn't go anywhere. I think the next step is going to be bringing the excavator out, taking the bush hog off, which is going to be fun it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a process. I'll time lapse it. Taking the bush hog off so that I can get to the back of the tractor, so I can get a chain on one of the more structural pieces of the back of the tractor, get it up in the air with the excavator, put some blocks underneath it, and get this tire floating up in the air so then I can further assess from there.
So now that I have the excavator over, I'm going to take the bush hog off piece by piece. I'm just looking for where there's not weight, where there is weight, and just kind of loosening things up and working them off without having to take out the hammer and kind of bash on anything. And then I take the bucket. I have a hook welded above the bucket, and I have a 3/8 inch long chain that I use for fixing just about everything. I loop it through some of the structural members of the bush hog and then through the hook, trying to get the bush hog to lay flat just because it's easier to handle that way up in the air. And I'll pick it up and move it on over. Super exciting, super nice. And boop. So it's a 3/8 inch thick chain and it's 16 feet long. I have 2 of these on farm and they have proved invaluable over the years, just pulling equipment out of the mud or grabbing onto something that you need to yank or chaining something to a trailer. Having these lengths of chain, it's just an odd thing, but it's so good to have around.
Now I'm going to chain from this back tow bar. It's like a 1-inch piece of steel hooked up to some 1/2-inch pieces of steel put together on the chassis with some pretty thick bolts. So I feel comfortable lifting it up by that, but what I gotta watch out for are these things right here. Those are hydraulic remotes that control, you know, if you had an implement on the back that you could, you know, wanted to control from your seat, they're just in and out, 2 hydraulic remotes. So I have to lift this thing up in the air, but make sure that my chain doesn't slip and knock those remotes, because that's an expensive fix if I break that. Can't think of anything better to do at the time, so this is what I'm gonna go with. Sorry for all the butt shot. Shot in my butt, shot in my butt.
What you might not also know, or I haven't mentioned so far, it's also like 93 degrees outside. You can kind of see that I'm getting pretty sweaty, getting a little tired as this goes on, and I just want to get it done and be over and out of the field, because it's a hot day. I don't want to do this all day. So I'm trying to lift the tractor, which is 6,300 pounds, with the excavator, which is 28 horsepower and about 7,300 pounds. So there's only about a 1,000-pound difference between the machines. And you can see I'm kind of like pushing and pulling on it. That's me trying to lift it up, and it's going nowhere.
Oh, that didn't work. The back end's too heavy for the mini excavator. Then I think it's something else. See this guy right here? It's a sway bar. I'm gonna pull the sway bar off because it's kind of in the way and it looks like it's just 3 pins. I'll take the sway bar off so I can reposition with the excavator. Or I think what I'm gonna go for is I got a lift in the shop. It's just a jack. And if I can get in there a little bit better, I'm gonna put some stone down on the bottom, just some bricks, put the jack on the stone, and then try lifting the machine up that way. My goal right now is just to get the weight off this rubber and see if there's any damage and just kind of further assess the situation. I'm making this up as I go along. Thanks for following along with me.
So the sway bars hold up implements. So if you had a plow or a mower on the back of your tractor, that's what is holding and can raise and lower those implements. And then there's a power takeoff shaft, or a PTO shaft, on the back of the tractor that drives those implements. Like the bush hog for the mower blades, you have to attach the PTO shaft and use your tractor to run the mower. Now I found out the hard way that the arm should be in a certain place when you're trying to pull it off. So I had to hop back on the tractor, lift it up a little bit right there, and then hop back down and get the pins out the rest of the way.
I don't know if you can hear me, but they painted the end of the bolt. And because they painted the end of the bolt, it's like a 64th of an inch proud, and it won't go through. So I gotta go get sandpaper and friggin' sand off the paint. This is so much fun. Having fun. You having fun? I didn't want to go get sandpaper. Then try a screwdriver and ball peen hammer.
So because I'm working on the ground, I put down a piece of 5/8 inch plywood that I just had. It was a piece of scrap, just to get things started. Got the tractor lifted up off the ground with a lift and started to put my cement blocks down, and positioning them, all the while keeping my body clear of the tractor so that if anything slipped, I wouldn't get pinched. So whenever I have to do a fine adjustment or something, I would use a crowbar or a stick or whatever, but never put my hands or my body in a position where I could get crushed. And you just work through step by step. It's a little bit of a process. Add a brick here, lift a bit there, add a brick here, lift a bit there, and you just kind of work through until you get the tractor where you want it and gently try to settle everything down. Bam. And, then just figure it out from there.
And then once it was off the ground and supported by the stone, I put down 2 stones and then layered on top. Once it was supported by the stone, I took the jack out, took the stones that I was working on, and then just put this jack on there just as another safety. I don't trust these stones. I'm gonna check this again before I work on it, but it's hot, I'm sweating, I'm tired. I'm gonna take a breather, clear my head, get some energy back, eat a little lunch, and then revisit this. I know that no one's gonna come out here, so I feel safe leaving it like this. If it falls, worst case scenario, it just falls back into the grass. But because it's on dirt and it is squishy, this is not, you know, long-term solid setup. Now I'm to the point where I have to look into reseating the tire on the rim and then blowing it back up and getting it out of the field. We'll see if I can accomplish that through the rest of this video. So I figured out what happened. I almost got to the point of reseating the tire and was checking where the valve stem was so that I can inflate it once I reseated it, and noticed something that was missing, the valve stem. And I found this guy right here. Look at that. There should be this much more material on here, and that's where you would fill the tires up with air. But without that, the tire lost pressure. So what happened was I was mowing and the grass built up a little bit on the bush hog. Then it got stuck in my wheel well. As the wheel turned, my tires, my wheels were installed with the valve stems on the inside on the rear wheels. I don't know why. There's gotta be a reason somewhere. So with the valve stems on the inside and the grass building up and a 70 horsepower tractor just spinning along doing its thing, it tore this off, tore the end of this off. So now I have a 1/4 inch hole spewing out pressure, whether it's the beet juice ballast or air pressure. And as the tire deflated, it got softer. As it got softer and my wheels kept spinning, the rims kept spinning, it unseated itself and I'm in the mess I'm in now. So now I have to go to a store and see if I can find one of these things, reinstall this thing, see if I can reseat the tire and get this tractor out of the field.
Got it. By the third store, I got the part that I need to go fix the valve stem on the tire so I can put the tire back on the rim. Couldn't fill it up because the valve stem was broken and it had a hole in it because there was just no valve stem. So now I have a new fancy valve stem and I'm gonna go home and hopefully fix the tractor so I can get back to all the other things I gotta do.
I got the extra piece. I'm gonna put it in the rim. I can't get a camera back there, so just trust me that I put the new one in. And then we're gonna blow this thing up.
So when I say blow up, I really mean blow it up. What you're trying to do is spray ether or starter fluid around the rim and then cause a mini explosion which matches the rim of the tire with the rim of the rim so that your tire seats itself and inflates. Now modern day starter fluid doesn't have as much ether in it and it's not as explosive as it did before, so this is my last attempt and every attempt just failed. It didn't work well. Just call the professionals, honestly. It was a little jokey that I did this.
All right, I'm done.
So after a few failed attempts at trying to blow up my tire, I decided to go the safer and probably more intelligent route and call in the professionals. I called Tosi Tire of Torrington, and the guy was nice enough to let me run cameras the entire time that he was working. It was 95 degrees that day. We're both hot and sweaty, and it was fun to watch him figure out how to put the tire back on. So he had the crane, which was super handy. He had 2 metal loops on it, and then what he did was line up the tire so it was a little bit more centered on the rim, and then use the ratchet strap to squish the tire out a little bit to get the edge of the rim to match up the rim, the metal rim on the inside. He then attached an air compressor and pulled out the secret weapon. What he's doing right now is filling up an air cannon, so he's pressurizing that tank, and it's got a big nozzle on the end. He'll put the air compressor hose on the valve stem so that at 150 or so PSI, it's shooting air into the wheel. And then you'll see he'll walk around to the other side of the tire and stick that flanged edge in between the two. And what you're trying to do is blow air in there and inflate the tire and get it to sit on the rim. Let's do that a couple more times for fun. So from this point on out, it's a lot of just adjust the wheel, try the air cannon again, try one hose. Eventually he pulls out a second air compressor hose, has the 2 hoses going, and manages to get the tire to sit right. And we'll see, after a little squishing, adjusting, he gets it to inflate and saves the day. I try to offer help, but I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Here comes that second hose. It was really that was clutch, getting enough air into the tire quickly enough to inflate that large of a space. Again, I offer help, but I'm like, he knows what he's doing. So you'll see it. Wait for the money shot. Oh, there it is. Oh, so good. And then after any successful project comes cleanup, so it's just wrapping the hose back up, putting his truck back together. Eventually we will lift up the tractor with the crane just a little bit so that I can pull the bricks out. Just trying to clean up the area. I'm putting everything on the bush hog so I can just lift the whole thing out of the field, pulling the bricks out, bada bing, bada boom, clean up, pull the tractor forward, and then finish up, pull out of the field, and we're done.
Now that the tractor is out of the field, I have to power wash it because I don't want all that sticky beet juice all over it. Even if it's not going to cause any damage or corrosive, it's just gross. It's good to wash your equipment. Let's just get on to washing the equipment. I'm really excited to wash the wheel well right here. Just like seeing something so dirty get so clean. Super excited. While I'm finishing up power washing, I want to talk about today's sponsor. And that sponsor is my friends, family, and coworkers. Without them, I wouldn't have the beautiful farm that I'm farming on right now. I wouldn't have the nearly $40,000 tractor that I got so frustrated with and was been fighting with for the last 2 days. I wouldn't have anything of where I am now without my mom, dad, my in-laws, my sister-in-law, without my friends, without them supporting me when I needed the support, with them understanding when I kind of backtracked or bailed on a get-together that we had planned to get together and I couldn't make it because I had to work out on farm. All the understanding and support that I've gotten through the last couple of years is why I'm even allowed to be frustrated that my big expensive tractor popped a tire in a field. I'm a super lucky guy. I appreciate every second of it. I don't tell you guys I love you enough. Thanks for everything you've done, and now we're back to the video. So that's it, the tractor's fixed. I'm back in business. I have to make a decision about the ballast and refilling the tire going forward, but it's fixed, everything is good, my day is done. Normally there's a call to action at the end of these videos, something for you to do, and all I want you to do is have a good day. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. If you have any questions about this, or would you like me to make any further videos or explanations about any part of this, leave it in the comment section below. We're gonna do an equipment month this fall, so I'm just starting to prep for that. And you can hear the forklift in the background. That's cute for it's time for me to go. We're wrapping things up here. Until next time, I will see you out in the field.